Hello everyone, and thank you for clicking on the Literacy Volunteers of Harrison County. We're a nonprofit United Way agency. This is our YouTube channel. We would love for you to watch our videos and like them, give them a thumbs up, and share them with your friends. Today's video is on why do leaves change color in the fall? It's kind of a topical thing since the leaves are getting ready to change color here. It's the middle of October. Leaves are green in the spring and in the summer because they are making lots of chlorophyll. And I put a little asterisk here so we can figure out what chlorophyll is in case you don't know. Chlorophyll is the substance that gives plants their green color. It's a pigment. It's found within the leaves. It's actually found within the thylakoid membranes of the leaves. It helps plants absorb energy and get nutrients from the sunlight during photosynthesis. We're going to look at the process of photosynthesis very briefly, but if we break down the word, we can break it into photo, which means light, right? And synthesis is to make. So they're making food using sunlight. That's what plants do, and chlorophyll is the pigment that helps them do this. This is where this process takes place. So we have water, and we have carbon dioxide out in the atmosphere, and then the sunlight comes in. These are called the reactants, and the product that we get is glucose, which is a simple sugar, and oxygen, which we breathe out. So the plants can use the carbon dioxide, which we exhale, to make sugar and water with the help of sunlight. And that's what chlorophyll does. It helps with photosynthesis. All of the sunlight in the spring and in the summer trigger those leaves to keep making chlorophyll. Because the more chlorophyll they have, the more they can photosynthesize. So we have long hours of sunlight, long hours of daylight, and all of that sunlight is driving that process of photosynthesis. Trees are very sensitive to changes in the environment. Changes in sunlight, changes in water, changes in pH. So summer begins to fade, and as a result, the hours of daylight get shorter. We have less sunlight. Right now, it used to be getting dark at 9 o'clock. Now it's getting dark at like 7:15, and it'll go clear back to 5 o'clock. As those days get shorter and there's a shorter amount of light, that's going to give a little signal or trigger to our leaves. And then that tells those leaves, stop producing chlorophyll. Because now we don't have as much sunlight, we don't need to photosynthesize, so stop producing chlorophyll. As that chlorophyll starts to break down, that green color is going to disappear in the leaves. And as it disappears, we get yellow and orange colors that will become visible. These are called accessory pigments. And an accessory is like if you had a handbag or a purse, it goes with your outfit, something that goes with something. They're accessory to chlorophyll. They're also pigments, but they're kind of secondhand pigments. At the same time, we have other chemical changes that could occur. They would give us red color, and that red is called an anthocyanin. Cyanin means blue, antho means red, right? Anthocyanin pigments. So here's some examples I gave you of trees you might see around here. Dogwoods and sumacs, they kind of have reddish and purple leaves when they change. Sugar maple is a brilliant orange, and oaks are mostly browns, sort of a muted color. So different trees produce different types of accessory pigments. But what affects the color? The amount of red and the time that the leaf's color is displayed is directly dependent on these two things: moisture and temperature. So moisture, the amount of rainfall; temperature, whatever it is outside, 50, 60, 70, 80 degrees. These processes control the pigments because they are present both before and during the time that the chlorophyll amounts begin to decrease. So those two are present all the time, the amount of moisture and the temperature. The best fall foliage displays come after warm, sunny days and cool but not freezing nights. That process of freezing changes our plants a little bit. We don't want it to freeze, we just want it to be cool. Sunshine promotes the creation of sugar in leaves, that glucose, that C6H12O6. So the more sun we have, the more sugar we have, and the more glucose we have. Large amounts of sugar and light result in the creation of that anthocyanin pigment, that red pigment. So it has a lot of red in it. And what happens is those veins in leaves, and we're going to do a video about the anatomy of a leaf, but those little veins that you see when you look at a leaf kind of look like your veins. They narrow during the fall, and this guarantees that the sugars produced during the day remain trapped in the leaves. So those little veins, instead of moving the sugars through the leaves, narrow and trap that sugar in the leaves. And what are called carotenoid pigments. If you kind of see the word carrot, these are orange. Even a pumpkin has carotenoids. A squash has carotenoids. They're always present in the leaves, but the yellow and the gold colors are less influenced by the weather. Red is more influenced by the weather, yellow and gold a little bit less so. And then they have what's called in carotenoid pigments beta carotene. Do you remember when you were little and your mom said eat a lot of carrots, you can see better at night? That's really true. Beta carotene is made up of rhodopsin molecules when it breaks down, and that's very important in sight and your vision. But that strongly absorbs the blue-green light, and it reflects back that red and yellow and gives that leaves that bright orange color that you see. We also have what are called flavanols or flavonoid proteins. They're always in the leaves, but they aren't seen because of the chlorophyll. So once the chlorophyll breaks down, then they can produce that yellow and we can see the yellow. We have this moisture in the soil, and it must remain adequate throughout the year in order to see the beautiful fall foliage. If we have a drought conditions, we don't have enough rain, we won't be able to see the beautiful fall foliage that we usually see. It will delay the colors, and then sometimes the trees will just go directly to brown, the leaves, and fall off. We have these warm temperatures in the fall where they will lower the intensity of the fall colors a little bit like we have now, and they will trigger leaf drops because the colors can't change. The best foliage, like I said, was warm, wet spring followed by a calm summer weather and sunny fall days with cooler nights. This is when we would see the best colors. Other changes, we're looking at the point where the stem of the leaf is attached, and I kind of drew some leaves here, and all leaves have a little stem where you pull them off. Where it's attached here to the branch of the tree, there's a special little layer of cells that develop right there. And as that change happens and chlorophyll isn't being produced and the sugar is being halted in the veins of the leaf, then this starts to break down here. And what's happened, we're gradually going to sever those tissues that support that leaf on that stem, on that branch. And at the same time, what the tree will do is seal that over. Sort of like when you have a cut and then you get a scab, that the tree sort of makes a scab. And so it seals that over so that when the leaf is finally blown off by the wind or it falls to the ground by its own weight, it's kind of heavy and it's going to fall, it leaves behind what's called a leaf scar, like a little place on the branch where you could tell there was a leaf there. Only some trees lose their leaves. Right here we've talked about living in a temperate deciduous forest. Deciduous trees lose their leaves. But we have conifers, pine trees, pine, spruce, fir, hemlock, cedar. Those are evergreen, meaning they're green all year round. They produce needles instead of leaves, and we have that green color all year round. What I wanted to do is, as I was researching this, I wanted to take a closer look at chlorophyll because chlorophyll is a really remarkable thing, or remarkable processes that occur. But not only does a tree use chlorophyll, humans can use chlorophyll. Do you photosynthesize? No. But we'll see what can chlorophyll do for us as humans. How does that help us? There are certain things. Chlorophyll can boost your energy. It can help heal wounds. It can fight certain illnesses. It's a natural source of antioxidants, which we'll look at here in a minute. It manages some skin conditions, and it can prevent certain types of cancers. So chlorophyll is a really remarkable molecule. We can apply it what's called topically. That's when you rub it on your skin. That's a topical, because you're on top of your skin, application. So we have healthcare providers, and they can prescribe a medication that has chlorophyll in it. It's known as chlorophyllin, and it will help to promote the healing in those wounds. And it reduces some of the odors associated with open wounds. It has been used to reduce acne. It has a potential anti-aging remedy that helps to reduce the signs of photoaging, again, light or sun. You have a lot of sun exposure and it ages your skin faster. And if you take or put this chlorophyllin on, it can help reduce some of those signs of that sun exposure. We can also take it internally, which, you eat it or you swallow it. It's chemically similar to hemoglobin. And hemo, means red. We're looking at hemoglobin is that pigment or that protein component of red blood cells that carries oxygen. So we have that oxygen, and then this oxygen binds to those carriers in your body. So you have all that oxygen. If you've ever heard of someone dying of carbon monoxide poisoning, what happened was that carbon wants to be carbon dioxide, 2 oxygens instead of 1, but it's floating around in there with 1 oxygen, so it's looking for others. And so what it does is it binds to your red blood cells to steal that oxygen from hemoglobin, and you suffocate from the inside out, essentially. Right? So potential beneficial for improving anemia-related symptoms, low blood, right? Low red blood cells, fatigue, low energy, dizziness, those are all anemia-related. Liquid chlorophyll is a potential blood builder because of the potential to increase that red blood cell count and improve the quality of red blood cells. It enhances your red blood cells. It's also shown to enhance the liver's ability to remove toxins and waste. That's what your liver does. Your liver gets rid of toxins and wastes in your body, and chlorophyll can help with that. And derivatives of chlorophyll may help prevent and slow cancer growth. And how you get that is you have to consume it in your diet. You have to have rich in greens, leafy vegetables, spinach, chard. We'll look a little bit in these other things. Particularly cancer of the liver, the bladder, and the pancreas. And if you notice, these are all things that are removing toxins from our body, removing, bad things. Here's our summary. The summary of the things that chlorophyll can do: it can aid in weight loss because it helps the thyroid gland maintain your healthy metabolism. It's also been shown to balance hormones that prompt us to eat when we feel full, like ghrelin. Ghrelin is one of those hormones. When you're eating and you feel full and you're like, oh, I should stop eating. What chlorophyll would do was to make that hormone appear so that you've taken it and you feel full even though you haven't eaten. So it helps to promote weight loss. We've talked a little bit, it controls body odor. We can ingest it, which means you take it orally, and the detoxification in the liver, and it makes that digestion more efficient. It encourages healing because it inhibits bacterial growth and reduces infection from those wounds. It's a natural detoxifier. It contains something called aflatoxin B1. That's a big word. But that helps to reduce the damage to your DNA from toxins. When we talk about antioxidants, there are processes that occur in your body: reduction, oxidation. Reduction, we're gaining electrons. Oxidation, we're losing electrons. If something's an antioxidant, it's flooding your system with those electrons. They're bad for your body. Or if something's an oxidant, it's taking those electrons. The antioxidant helps to keep that process from occurring. So you don't want all those electrons building up in your body. It's not good for you. So if we take things that are antioxidants like blueberries, dark chocolate, and we're looking here at chlorophyll, things like that help your body to help it through that process of those electrons floating around. It protects your cells from that oxidative damage. It's eliminating what we just talked about, those free radicals, right? Oxidation, stealing those electrons. Chlorophyll is going to reduce the ability of those free radicals to damage your cells, which in turn reduces the appearance of aging. Gives you a more youthful appearance. We looked at cancer treatments, right? What it does is it binds to potential carcinogens. Carcinogen just means cancer causing. Something's carcinogenic, it's cancer causing. And it inhibits their ability to attack healthy cells. So you have all of this cancer cells that are occurring, right? Those are unhealthy. And so it's going to inhibit the ability of those cells to attack your other cells and make them cancerous. It's an anti-inflammatory, so those green leaves help to reduce swelling and redness in muscle tissue and joints. It's rich in magnesium. Magnesium is very good for that kind of thing. You can rub it on topically, you can take it orally. It helps the body reduce inflammation of your joints around your bones. It can also inhibit the growth of this Candida albicans, which is a fungus that grows in your body. It causes infections like thrush. If you ever see a little baby and their tongue gets real white and has that milky stuff, that's thrush. It's just a fungal infection of the mouth. And so, you have to put stuff on the baby's tongue. But chlorophyll will inhibit that. We've talked about how it boosts our red blood cell health. RBCs, red blood cells, and incorporating it into our diet. And this is how we need to do it, to eat those things I mentioned: leafy greens, chard, spinach, romaine, mustard greens. All of those things are very healthy for you, and if you get that chlorophyll into your body, it helps you just as much as it helps the tree. It's kind of, like a process where one helps the other. So we can either choose to eat them raw or cooked vegetables, or you can take a chlorophyll supplement. And what I wanted to do in this lesson was to give you kind of two looks at chlorophyll. We looked at it in the trees and what it does for the trees, and when it loses it, what happens to the trees. They're going to change color because the accessory pigments come in. And I also wanted to look at how does chlorophyll help a human. So if you look at all of these things together, we kind of get more of a well-rounded look at chlorophyll, which is really an amazing molecule. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to our video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.